Hello my dear students. We will now get into C program. From this session onwards, we will be seeing entire next sessions will be on C program. How exactly the C program has evolved, what are the characteristics, how to write programs by using C. So these are some of the things that we will be seeing in the subsequent classes. In today's class, we will see some of the characteristics of C and how exactly the C is being used as a programming language, and how exactly when a program is written, how it is compiled and how it is executed in a typical program, in a typical computer setup. We will see these things in the very first class. As I told you, this C program developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1970. Much prior to this, there were another versions of the C program. They tried and they were not successful. And in 1970, he came out with a programming language. Interestingly, the author, one of the reference book for you is written by Dennis Ritchie. This particular C program has got lot of features. So that is why since 1970, 30 plus 24, 55 years, still it is being studied by you in the very first semester. The reason, other programming languages like Pascal, COBOL, Fortran, BASIC, they have all become extinct. More or less it is not being used. Very few people may use it. But C, still it is becoming popular because of these characteristics that you can see from the C programming language. This C programming language is popular, it is only because it is the basic foundation for Java, it is a basic foundation for C++, even for Python program, which is a very known popular language in today's world. So that is why still C is studied. If you know C, other three languages you can study in a quicker way. So that is why still this C is considered as a standard reference programming language. The biggest advantage of C programming language is it is simple in nature. It is very simple. Some of the students may feel that actually it is complicated. Absolutely it is no. It is one of the simplest and easiest programming language that you can use it in your all your requirements. C program has got these special 10 characteristics. Because of that, it is still surviving even after 55 years. This is called as a high level program. We will see one by one. One of the characteristics of C programming is called as a high level program. It is a high level program. What is this? Then obviously you should know what is this low level program. Low level program is something like this. Now, if you really consider your computer, as I told you on that today, computer can understand 0 and 1. Anything that you give instructions, it should be in the form of zeros and ones. Now, we being human system, we cannot remember all things to be given in the form of zeros and ones. Anything that you give, because it has been designed to understand zeros and ones. Any instruction you give, it should be in the set of zeros and ones only. Obviously, the language, if it is written in the form of some numbers, nobody will understand. That is why what we do is, we create two levels of programming language. One is called low level programming, another one is called as a high level programming. What is this high level program? High level program is a program where it is using language syntax which is very known to the human system. And by using a compiler process, we convert high level language into low level language. Say for example, when you go to China, You would like to communicate to the shop fellow. You would like to communicate to the shop fellow. You know English or Kannada. Those people do not know other than Chinese language. But still you can buy. Because you have a language which is known to you, which is not known to that fellow. He knows some language which is not known to you. Now, you can use this. You can show this product. What is that? And write in calculator or in a pen pay saying that actually I am looking for this item for $5, whatever it is. That fellow understand your feelings, your thinking, your requirement in his own language and try to say it may be given for $5 or not, so he will convey it to you again by writing in the calculator or by using in a pen paper saying that $5 not possible, okay, I can give it for $4, something like that actually. Now the communication has been happened by means of a number. So therefore the number is now used as a connectivity between that fellow and you. In a very simple way it is done. But in a bigger applications, how can you communicate a language which is known to you is English, language which is known to the machine is binary system where it has got only two characters called 0 and 1. You need to have some device to work in between them. That is called as a compiler. Please understand, compiler is a device which converts high level language into machine level language which is readable by machines. So therefore, you can see from this actually, this source file, now I am writing this, a compiler converts high level language into low level language. Now, can English be considered as high level language? No, English is not a high level language. English is a spoken language. Kannada is a spoken language. I can write, I can read. It is only between human system. Now, your objective is to communicate to the machine. Now, there are three stages. First, your thought process, your thinking is there in your local language, English. I would like to solve a quadratic equation. Let us take the same example I gave it in the last session. Quadratic equation. That quadratic equation, it is now you are trying to do that, writing an algorithm, everything in an English fashion. Now, there is one high level language meant for computers only. High level languages meant for computers, you use a technique or use certain rules to convert your thinking into computer for or compiler understandable language. Compiler understandable language. Compiler understandable language is C program, or it is called as a high level program, high level language. So your English language is by using your brain, being student, you convert your thinking of solving a problem into high level language first of all. Maybe your C, your Python, your Java, Pascal, COBOL, BASIC, any other language that you feel, you would write your thinking into your requirement into a high level language program first. That program is subjected to a process called as a compilation. There is one software called compiler. So that compiler converts your high level language into low level language or called as a machine level language which is readable by machine, by computer. So therefore, your thought process, your thinking now converted into algorithm first, algorithm to high level language subjected to compilation by using a compiler, then it is converted to an executable or machine readable language. So therefore, ultimately what is being executed with a machine, not this high level program. Your C program is not directly executed by machine. In between there is a compiler, and through that compiler it gets converted to machine language and it is being executed. So therefore, it is not the straightaway language which is directly read by machine, which is you can understand and compiler can understand. Compiler and you, it is in between that. The compiler again converts that into machine language, and that machine language or machine readable format that is being executed by the machine. So therefore, lot of stages which are there in between this. So high level language is the language which has got certain syntax like your English language. English, you need to write the very first character in a in a capital letters, and you have to put full stop, and the sentences, there are nouns, verbs, plenty of rules are there to construct English sentences like that, why these English sentences are used? These English sentences are used to communicate between you and other fellow. In the very similar way, there are certain syntax for high level programming languages also. These high level languages are having certain syntax. The biggest advantage of C program, it is high level program, and the biggest advantage, it is smaller set of rules. Keywords are very limited, it is exactly 32. There are only 32 keywords. If you remember, everything is written just well within that only. So that is why it is very, very simple. And it permits you to allow function calls. You need not have to execute. In the last class, I told you about the monolithic program, procedural program, structured program, like that actually. You can go with the function calls with varieties of small functions, small operations which are being carried out there. In no need of doing everything in one specific unit. You can just do it in a very, 2-bedroom house I compared. Single hostel versus 2-bedroom house I compared. So you can have individual operations, you can do that. So that is a function calls. Another characteristic of C program is you can call multiple functions. And it follows the structured programming. Structured programming means actually there is a specific way you can enter. From there you can go to different branches. From this branch you go to that particular main program. From that again you come back here. So there is you can write the sequence of execution of different functions that you are defining. That is why it is called a structured programming. And it is more stable language. I need not have to tell you. The reason is it is there since so many years. It is more stable, versatile. It can be used in multiple applications and multiple connections. And of course, it is quick. It is not really depending on the programming language, since the instructions are very, very limited. Since instructions are very, very limited, so then obviously it is going to be easy. It would have been little complicated, means more number of instructions are there, then it would have been little slower. Since it is quick only because it is having less number of keywords, less number of syntax rules. Facilitates low level language. What is this? See, compiler is there between your program and compiler, then you have your low level language. But C is the language which permits you to access some of the devices directly connected to the machine. This is called a low level programming. It means you can set some binary operations which you will be doing it in your programming language itself. Of course, as a fresher, you will be not using all those things, facilitating low level languages like that actually. Anyway, there is another interesting thing is actually pointers. Pointers permit you to access the location directly. It is not only accessing the data, it is also accessing the location at which this data is there. What is this? Anything you talk, it should be stored in some memory. Obviously, when everything is stored in the memory, even the data is also being stored in the memory. Okay, just to understand this, let us take this small picture. In the previous class, I showed you about the Van Neumann concept and all. Now we will see with this. How exactly a typical computer works for your system? So you have a central processing unit, which is the main unit of the computer. Usually there will be a secondary memory and the main memory. We have to know the difference between these two things to understand this pointer facility and all. Okay. What is there in the secondary memory? Secondary memory is just like your textbook or notebook, which is always permanent. When you write something on the notebook or in the textbook, it is permanent. Even if you close that book, you just throw that book for 1 year. After 1 year, you read that, everything will be there only. It is printed permanently. What you have written in the book, you have written in your first standard. If you read now, you open it now, still you can read it. It means it has got a permanent storage. Some of the memory, you will be using it dynamically. This is called as a main memory. In the computer system, there are two kinds of memory. One is called a permanent memory and the main memory. Always CPU refers to main memory. CPU refers to main memory. When you switch on the computer, there is operating system, maybe Linux or maybe Windows, whichever Windows you are using. They are all stored in the permanent memory, brought into the main memory. Please understand this. It is now when you put on your computer, laptop, your mobile, whichever, when you on the system, your operating system stored in the secondary is now brought to the main memory. So main memory is this here, which is always accessed by CPU. Now here in this main memory, if we consider this is the area, your operating system will be residing here. Your Windows operating system, Windows 11, Windows 10, whatever it is, or Linux, it is all stored in the operating system, in this main memory. Now you have still some more area which can be used for all your purposes. Say for example, you opened up one C program. I would like to type some C program now. To type C program, you require a compiler assistance. So therefore, the compiler is brought from secondary storage to the main memory. Everything is brought. You would have read the book. Everything is forgotten. You open the book and recall. So what is there in the brain only is your memory to be considered as a memory. What is there in the book is not part of yours. You may be opening it just to recall, but you will bringing it to the main memory. In that way, so operating system is first brought. After that, all applications. Say for example, you would like to open up a Chrome. When you click on the Chrome is brought. When you click something, that will be brought from secondary storage to the main memory. It means all active things are there in the main memory and all supporting things are there in the secondary things. All secondary storage, it's a permanent. So from there it is being brought. Okay. Say for example, you would like to write one C program, the source code also to be written and stored somewhere. So therefore, that is again being brought. Or yesterday you have written one C program, that is stored in the hard disk or in your permanent memory. So that is brought here. So everything is brought to the main memory. So that you got to keep in your mind. So what is this pointer? When you bring all these things into the main memory, at which location the code is stored, at which location the operating system is stored, at which location, in specific area of the memory, which area this is stored. Now that can be accessed by using a pointer. A pointer is basically operating it through the address. So therefore, that is the facility available in the C program. This is the very first programming language started using pointers. Till then, none of the other programming languages are capable of connecting any data through pointers, through the addresses. And the interesting thing is called as a portable. What is this portable? Portable means you can use it anywhere. So I write it in my computer and give it to you. You add up some more lines and execute it. You add up one more function, you can execute it. So therefore, this is the biggest advantage of this portable. You can bring it from one machine to another machine. The next thing is actually it is extensible. Extensible means, so today I will write some program with some functions like that, with some structures. So tomorrow I add up one more function and use that as a whole program. I will add up two more functions to that. So still it is working. It is not that actually you have to rewrite the entire program. So only modules which are to be added can be just given along with that and do the compilation process. So therefore, then it becomes whole thing. So all a new program. So therefore, this is called the extensible characteristic of C program. So therefore, when you really look at the C characteristic of the C, there are plenty of advantages which are there. So today, I also explained to you about how exactly the secondary storage and primary storage works. You have to understand that all things which are there in the permanent memory, hard disk, you can call it a hard disk or a secondary storage. Whenever you run the machine, run the computer, what all you require, they are all brought from there. Say for example, you would like to see one video which you have shooted and stored inside the computer. It is there in the permanent memory. Now you are playing it. Now you are running it. When you are running it, it is brought from secondary storage to the main memory. It is brought then. Then it is being used. So therefore, all usable things are running things you can call. All running things will be kept here and here, right? It is just similar to this actually. You can recall in your lower standards, your teacher, your college used to give, school used to give so many books. Environmental science, mathematics 1, 2, 3, social science 1, 2, 3, like that's plenty of books they used to give. Looking at the timetable, you bring only what is required. So today you have only maths and environmental, notes and textbook, only 4 things are brought today. Because these are the active things which are available. Remaining, where are they? They are at your house. I am not using it right now because I don't require other subject. Kannada, I don't have. English, I don't have today. I am not bringing it. So like that, secondary storage is a permanent storage. Primary, main memory, wherein which you are active for today's, for right now work, what is required, they are all brought to the main memory. Starting from operating system, the first thing to be brought is operating system. After operating system, rest of the things are being brought. Everything is brought to the main memory and it is executed in the main memory, not in the secondary. So that you have to keep in your mind. So when you call a high level language, to make it a compilation process, you need to bring compiler also being brought to the system. Because now I am running as a compiler, like that. Okay. How does the typical programming language, of course including C also, gets executed? Say, for example, you have your keyboard and mouse, open up an editor, any editor for that matter, and you will be storing one C program. C programs are having extension called as C with .c files. It means, say for example, first I am writing one program, then I am calling it as 1.c. How to do this? Take one computer, switch on the computer, open up an editor, any text editing application, then type the program. Type the program according to the syntax, right? Anyway, I have not explained the syntax yet, you write the program. Then store it. Where it is stored? It is now stored in the secondary storage. When you save it, it is stored in the secondary storage. right? Now, I would like to execute this program. What I have written the program, that needs to be executed. How does the flow goes? Flow goes like this actually. The source file which is there in the secondary storage is brought to the main memory. That's the first step. Next, it is now forced to enter into the compilation process. Where is the compiler? Compiler is there in the secondary storage. Bring that also. Now, your program and the compiler which is doing the compilation process, both are brought. This is the compiler. Source file is subjected to compiler. It generates one file called as an object file. It generates a machine language program. You can call this a machine language program. Now, that is not sufficient. The reason is, of course, in a C program, that is not just sufficient. You will be forcing it to another stage called as a linker. What is this linker? Linker connects from the library. See, any program is not just sufficient. You need to bring resources from already available material. You will be bringing it from other resources also. You will be bringing all of them and making it an executable file. Now, source file, whatever that program you have typed, passed on to compiler, then it is called as an object file is being generated. This is called .obj file. Now, we have here 1.obj. Some compilers generate 1.o like that, 1.obj. Then that object file is now linked to libraries. We will see this in the subsequent classes, why libraries are so important. These libraries are connected. These libraries are connected by using a linker, and an executable file .exe is created. 1.exe. 1.exe is created. Now you can execute directly this program in any of your computers. 1.exe is a executable program. You can directly execute it. It is of course, obviously it is there in a machine language. Obviously it is there in a machine language. So this is how the total process goes like this. Now, during this process of communicating, your program, what program you have written is this, and additionally some other resources are being brought from some other source. They are called as libraries. Why these libraries are required? These libraries are already executed or being prepared by somebody else for your support. It has already been written. Somebody else has written this. And that is given to you as a gift. So you can use those facilities. You need not have to write, just like open source you can start imagining. Something is given to you as a gift for you. So you use that gift along with that and generate what is required for you. Right? We will see the importance of this library in a short while now. When you write a typical program, now in today's class itself, in today's session itself, we will see how to write one C program. C program, so let me write one C program. You don't worry what are these syntax and all. Try to look at that, there is one C program. Now, you have written first C program in your career. You have to understand certain things out of this, then all these libraries will be helpful to you. Now I have written one C program, very simplest possible C program with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code. Every C program should have a mandatory entry point called as a main. Like house, every house should have a main gate. Every house should have a main door. Where do you enter your house? Like that, where do you enter this program? It is always through the main. So therefore, main is a default function which is there in the C program. You have to have this main. Main is a function, so functions are written like this. I will explain all these things in the subsequent classes, how to write the function, etc. You can understand main is written with the 2 brackets like this, and the body of the program is now written with the flower brackets like this. Now I am using one print statement saying that print, please print, called this is MITM, and I am including certain things. You don't worry about the syntax of the program, how does all this program looks like, but try to look at that this C program. When you run this, it will be executed. Basically, body of the program is only this. Now I am adding a library called stdio.h. This is a library written by somebody else to help you as a gift. What is there in that? You are trying to print something. Where is to be printed? It is to be printed on a monitor. So you are not writing program to print something on a monitor. Somebody has already written program to print in the monitor, that is there in stdio.h. So when you key something, when you press something, something else should happen. When you move the mouse, something should happen. That is what you are intended to write. So that action already written by somebody else, you can use that actually. You need not have to write. So when you say print something, where it is getting printed, my intention is to show it on the monitor in the output device. So output device printing, that is taken care by this particular function, this particular library services. So they are basically services given by somebody else to help you to use this program in a very, very simple way. Alright, like this, there are very popular header files. They are called as libraries like stdio.h. Usually you have to use this stdio.h as a default header files, then stdlib, then string.h, math.h, alloc.h, conio.h. So these are all some of the libraries you will be using it. Of course, you can also, if you are so good in writing program, you can write a header file and you can include that also by later stage. That can also be written. That is possible. But how you are using somebody's facilities, you can also create a facility for public and you can create an header file, ask someone to use whenever they wanted, like that. Okay, this is how it goes like this. So source file is only this. This is your source file. In this source file, you will be typing by using an editor. You will be typing this program and store this as an 1.c by using one editor. Now I am passing it onto a compiler. Compiler checks the syntax whether it is correctly typed or not. So that is being checked. Syntax are being checked while typing. Actually, you would have missed some characters. Some errors would be there. We have seen the errors. So it checks for some errors. If this program is error free, then object file is created. After this object file, now the linker. The linker, there is one standard statement in this program saying that please include a library called stdio.h. Please bring that pages. Those header files are to be brought. That is an intention. Where are those? They are available in some library, some location. So those are being brought here. These libraries are connected and object file, and it generates one executable file and you can execute this. all right. So this is how a typical programming, execution takes place in a C program. Of course, this type of execution is same for any of the kind of programming languages, but I started off writing with a small program today, and these are some of the characteristics, and these are the libraries that commonly we use in our daily C programming experiments. Okay, we will see in the next class, in the next video, how exactly these are being added with some more facilities like variables, some syntax like this. Those things we will see it in the next session. Thank you.